The Buddhist Path to Inner Peace, 6 Teachings to Silence Your Mind. Have you ever found yourself trapped in a whirlwind of thoughts, going over the same worries, analyzing every detail, and feeling mentally exhausted? Overthinking is something we all struggle with at some point. It keeps us awake at night, fuels anxiety, and often stops us from truly enjoying the present moment. But what if there was a way to quiet this endless mental chatter? What if we could find a path to inner peace, where thoughts no longer control us but flow naturally, like a gentle stream? For centuries, Buddhism has offered profound wisdom on how to free the mind from its own traps. Through simple yet powerful teachings, Buddhist philosophy provides a roadmap to help us break free from overthinking and cultivate a sense of calm and clarity. In this video, we'll explore 6 transformative Buddhist teachings that can help you stop overthinking and reclaim control over your thoughts. These principles, practiced by monks and spiritual seekers for thousands of years, are not just abstract ideas but practical tools you can use in your daily life. So, if you've ever felt stuck in your own head, if you've ever longed for a way to silence the noise and truly experience peace, stay with us. By the end of this journey, you may just find that the key to a quiet mind has been within you all along. Now, let's begin. 2. Accept what you cannot control, the key to inner freedom. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you plan, worry, or try to control a situation, things still don't go the way you want? Maybe you stress about what others think of you, fear unexpected changes, or get anxious when life doesn't follow your carefully crafted script. This struggle is deeply human. We crave certainty, predictability, and control. But Buddhism teaches us that this attachment to control is one of the main causes of suffering. The more we resist the natural flow of life, the more we entangle ourselves in overthinking, worry, and frustration. The Buddha taught that everything in life is impermanent, relationships change, plans fall apart, and unexpected challenges arise. Fighting against this truth only leads to stress. But when we accept what we cannot control, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and find peace in the midst of uncertainty. A story of the farmer and his horse. There's an old Zen story about a farmer who lived in a small village. One day, his only horse ran away. His neighbors came to console him. "What terrible luck," they said. The farmer simply replied, "Maybe, maybe not." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses. His neighbors cheered. "What great fortune." Again, the farmer said, "Maybe, maybe not." The next week, his son was training one of the wild horses and fell, breaking his leg. The neighbors sighed. "How unfortunate." The farmer, unshaken, said, "Maybe, maybe not." Soon after, soldiers arrived in the village to recruit young men for war. Because of his injury, the farmer's son was spared. The neighbors exclaimed, "What incredible luck." And once more, the farmer said, "Maybe, maybe not," bringing this lesson into our lives. This story reminds us that we never truly know how events will unfold. What seems bad today may lead to something good tomorrow, and vice versa. The more we cling to our expectations, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment and overthinking. I personally struggled with this. I used to obsess over every outcome, whether a job interview would go well, whether people would like me, or whether things would turn out exactly as I planned. But I realized that the more I tried to control everything, the more anxious I became. Letting go of the need to control doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting that some things are beyond our influence. Instead of resisting change, we can learn to adapt, flow, and trust that whatever happens, we will handle it. The next time you catch yourself overthinking about something you can't control, pause and ask yourself, checkmark, can I change this situation? If yes, take action. Checkmark if not, can I let it go and trust the process? When we stop resisting life and start embracing its uncertainty, we experience freedom, resilience, and peace. So, take a deep breath, let go of what you can't control, and watch how much lighter your mind becomes. 3. Simplify your life, the path to clarity and peace. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with information, choices, and responsibilities. Our to-do lists are endless. Our minds are cluttered, and we often feel like we are running in a never-ending race. But have you ever noticed that the more complicated life becomes, the more overwhelmed and anxious we feel? Buddhism teaches that simplicity is a key to peace. When we remove excess, Whether it's physical clutter, unnecessary commitments, or mental noise, we create space for clarity, mindfulness, and inner peace. The less we try to juggle, the less we have to overthink. The Zen monk and the overflowing mind. A young man once visited a Zen monk, seeking guidance on how to find peace. He said, "Master, I feel lost. My mind is constantly filled with worries, ambitions, and responsibilities. I want to be successful, but I also want peace. What should I do?" The monk smiled and handed the young man a heavy sack filled with stones. "Carry this," he said. The young man struggled as the weight of the sack pressed down on his shoulders. After a few minutes, he asked, "Master, why are you making me carry this burden?" The monk responded, "Is this not how you live your life? You carry so much worries, fears, unnecessary commitments, yet you refuse to let go. Put the sack down, and you will feel lighter." The young man understood. Peace comes not from adding more, but from letting go. How we can apply this in our lives. Like the young man in the story, many of us hold on to too much, too many possessions, too many tasks, too many distractions. The result? A mind filled with unnecessary stress and overthinking. Here are some simple ways to declutter your life and make space for peace. Checkmark: declutter your physical space. A messy environment creates a messy mind. Try removing things you no longer need. A clean, organized space leads to a clearer, calmer mind. Checkmark: simplify your commitments. Not every invitation needs a yes. Not every responsibility is yours to carry. Prioritize what truly matters. Checkmark: reduce digital overload. Social media, news, emails, constant digital noise feeds overthinking. Try setting limits on screen time and focusing on real-world experiences. Checkmark: focus on what's essential. Ask yourself, does this add value to my life? If not, consider letting it go. My personal experience with simplifying. I used to believe that being busy meant being productive. My schedule was packed, my phone was always buzzing, and my mind never rested. But in reality, I was constantly stressed, distracted, and overthinking everything. When I started simplifying my routines, waking up earlier, reducing unnecessary tasks, and spending more time in nature, I felt an incredible sense of freedom. Instead of rushing through life, I learned to slow down, be present, and truly enjoy the little things. Simplicity is not about having less, it's about making space for more of what truly matters. So, take a moment today to let go of one thing. Whether it's a physical object, a mental worry, or a draining commitment, you might be surprised at how much lighter and clearer your mind feels. Because sometimes, the secret to peace isn't adding more, but removing what no longer serves you. 4. Recognize the impermanent nature of thoughts. Free yourself from mental traps. Have you ever had a thought that completely took over your mind, something negative, painful, or frustrating? Maybe you replayed an embarrassing moment from years ago or imagined worst-case scenarios about the future. The more you tried to stop thinking about it, the stronger it became. But here's the truth. Thoughts are just passing clouds in the sky of the mind. They come and go. They are not who you are. Buddhism teaches that everything is impermanent, including our thoughts. Just like waves rise and fall in the ocean, thoughts appear and disappear in our minds. The problem is, we often cling to them, believe them, and let them control us. But what if we could observe them without attachment, just watching them drift away instead of getting caught in their storm? The story of the two monks and the woman. One day, two Buddhist monks were traveling on foot when they reached a river. There, they saw a woman struggling to cross the water. Without hesitation, the older monk picked her up and carried her across. After setting her down on the other side, the monks continued their journey in silence. Hours later, the younger monk, unable to hold back his frustration, blurted out, "How could you carry that woman? We are monks. We are not supposed to touch women." The older monk calmly replied, "I put her down at the riverbank hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" How this applies to our thoughts. Like the younger monk, we carry thoughts long after we should have let them go. A mistake, an argument, an unkind word from someone, we replay them over and over, letting them steal our peace. But in reality, these thoughts have no power unless we hold on to them. When we learn to see thoughts as passing clouds, rather than permanent truths, we free ourselves from overthinking and unnecessary suffering. Here's how you can practice observing thoughts without attachment. Checkmark. Imagine your thoughts as clouds. Close your eyes and picture each thought drifting by like a cloud. Some are dark and stormy. Others are light and fluffy. But none of them stay forever. Checkmark. Label your thoughts. Instead of saying, "I am anxious," say, "I notice anxious thoughts." This simple shift reminds you that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer. Checkmark. Let go without judgment. Don't fight your thoughts or try to suppress them. Just acknowledge them and let them pass. The less you engage, the weaker they become. My personal experience with this practice. I used to struggle with negative thoughts, especially self-doubt. Whenever I made a mistake, my mind would spiral. Why did I do that? What if I fail? What if people judge me? These thoughts felt so real and powerful, and they often controlled my emotions. But when I started practicing thought observation, I realized something profound. My thoughts were just thoughts. They were not absolute truth. The more I watched them like passing clouds, without fighting or believing them, the less power they had over me. And just like that, my mind became lighter, calmer, and freer. Final reflection. The next time you find yourself trapped in overthinking, pause and remind yourself, this thought is not permanent. It will pass, just like all the others before it. The mind is like the sky, ever present, peaceful, and vast. Thoughts are just passing clouds. Let them drift, let them go. And in that space of detachment, you'll find a deeper sense of peace than you ever thought possible. 5. Practice mindfulness and meditation, the art of calming the overactive mind. Have you ever felt like your mind is running at full speed, constantly jumping from one worry to another? Replaying conversations, or planning future scenarios? It's exhausting, isn't it? The truth is, our minds are like restless monkeys, always swinging from thought to thought. Buddhism offers a powerful way to calm this mental chaos: mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness means being fully present, not lost in the past, not worrying about the future, but completely engaged in the now. Meditation is the practice that trains our minds to stay in this state of presence. When we meditate, we learn to observe thoughts without getting caught up in them, reducing the tendency to overthink. The story of the overflowing cup. A student once asked a Buddhist master, "How can I find peace? My mind is always filled with thoughts." The master handed him a cup of tea and began pouring. The cup filled to the brim. Yet the master kept pouring until tea spilled over the edges. "Stop, the cup is full," the student exclaimed. The master smiled and said, "Exactly. Your mind is like this cup, overflowing with thoughts, worries, and distractions. Until you empty it, you will never find peace." How meditation and mindfulness help. Our minds are just like that overflowing cup, constantly filled with unnecessary thoughts. Meditation allows us to empty the cup, creating space for peace, clarity, and presence. Here's how you can start practicing mindfulness and meditation in your daily life. Checkmark. Mindful breathing. The simplest way to start is by focusing on your breath. Take slow, deep breaths, and notice how the air moves in and out. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. Body awareness. Pay attention to the sensations in your body, the warmth of the sun, the feeling of your feet on the ground, the rhythm of your heartbeat. This grounds you in the present moment. Mindful eating. Instead of eating while scrolling your phone, try truly experiencing your meal. Notice the flavors, textures, and aromas. This simple practice brings mindfulness into everyday life. Formal meditation practice. Set aside even 5 to 10 minutes a day to sit quietly and focus on your breath. Over time, this will train your mind to be more present and less prone to overthinking. My personal experience with meditation. I used to struggle with constant overthinking, always replaying past mistakes or worrying about what might happen next. But when I started practicing daily meditation, something amazing happened. My mind became quieter. The thoughts were still there, but they no longer controlled me. I learned to observe them, let them come and go, without getting attached. Now, whenever I feel overwhelmed, I take a moment to pause, close my eyes, and breathe. Within minutes, I feel calmer, more centered, and in control of my thoughts. Final reflection. If you've never tried mindfulness or meditation before, start small. Even a few deep breaths can make a difference. Remember, your mind is not the enemy, it just needs training. Meditation is not about stopping thoughts. but about learning to let them pass without pulling you in. So, the next time your mind feels like an overflowing cup, pause, breathe, and empty it. In that stillness, you'll discover the peace you've been searching for. 6. Cultivate compassion and loving kindness. The antidote to overthinking. Have you ever noticed that when we overthink, it's often centered around ourselves? We replay mistakes, worry about how others perceive us, or dwell on our own fears and insecurities. Overthinking tends to shrink our world, trapping us inside our own minds. But Buddhism offers a simple yet powerful remedy: compassion and loving kindness. When we shift our focus outward, toward caring for others, toward kindness, toward love, our overthinking naturally begins to fade. Instead of being lost in self-criticism or worry, we cultivate warmth, connection, and peace. The story of the Buddha and the angry man. One day, as the Buddha was walking through a village, a man approached him and began insulting him. He shouted, criticized, and tried to provoke a reaction. But the Buddha remained calm. He simply asked the man, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man, confused, replied, "To the one who offered it." The Buddha smiled and said, "Exactly. I do not accept your anger. It remains with you." How this relates to overthinking. Many of the thoughts that make us suffer, self-judgment, grudges, fear of what others think, are like the insults in this story. They come from past experiences, external opinions, or our own inner critic. But just like the Buddha refused to accept the man's anger, we can choose not to accept every thought that enters our minds. Practicing compassion and loving kindness helps us break free from the cycle of overthinking by replacing self-focused worry with genuine care for ourselves and others. Practical ways to cultivate loving kindness. Loving kindness meditation, metta meditation. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath, and repeat phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be at peace, may I be free from suffering." Then extend the wish to others. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Practice self-compassion. Notice how you speak to yourself. If you wouldn't say it to a friend, don't say it to yourself. Do small acts of kindness, a kind word, a smile, or a simple act of generosity can shift your focus from overthinking to compassionate action. Let go of resentment. Holding on to anger or past mistakes only fuels overthinking. Like the monk in the river story, set it down and walk forward. My personal experience with loving kindness. There was a time when I would lie awake at night, replaying awkward conversations, worrying about things I said, or fearing judgment from others. But when I started practicing loving kindness meditation, something changed. Instead of overanalyzing my own actions, I focused on wishing well for others. Slowly, my mind softened. I became less critical of myself, less reactive to negativity, and more at peace. Final reflection. If overthinking is weighing you down, try shifting your focus from fear to love. Instead of analyzing the past, send kindness into the present. Because the more love you cultivate, the less room there is for worry. And in that space, peace begins to grow. Conclusion. Integrating Buddhist teachings into daily life. A path to lasting peace. Overthinking can feel like an endless storm, one thought leading to another, looping in circles, leaving us mentally exhausted. But as we've explored, Buddhism offers a timeless wisdom that helps us break free from this cycle and rediscover a sense of inner calm. By embracing these teachings, mindfulness, acceptance, simplicity, impermanence, meditation, and compassion, we can transform our relationship with our thoughts. Instead of being trapped by them, we learn to observe, let go, and live with greater clarity and peace. But here's the key. This isn't about a quick fix. It's a journey, one that requires patience, practice, and commitment. Some days, your mind will be calm and clear. Other days, old habits of overthinking may return. And that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. How these teachings can enrich your life. Imagine waking up in the morning without the usual flood of worries about the day ahead. Imagine being able to handle life's uncertainties without anxiety, to let go of what you can't control, to embrace each moment as it comes. Imagine walking through life with a lighter mind and a more open heart, less caught up in fears and self-doubt, more present to the beauty and simplicity of the world around you. That's what these Buddhist teachings offer, not just a way to reduce overthinking, but a way to live more fully, more freely, and more peacefully. My personal reflection: applying these principles has changed the way I experience life. I no longer feel weighed down by thoughts that once consumed me. I've learned to let go, to trust, to embrace the present moment. Of course, I still have moments of doubt, stress, and overthinking because I'm human. But now, I have the tools to bring myself back to peace. And that, in itself, is a profound transformation. A final thought: the journey begins now. If these teachings resonate with you, start small. Begin with just one practice, maybe a few minutes of mindfulness, a simple act of self-compassion, or the decision to let go of one unnecessary worry. Because the path to inner peace isn't found in thinking about change, it's found in taking the first step. And as you walk this journey, remember, peace is not something you have to chase, it's something that has always been within you. You just have to uncover it. So, take a deep breath, let go, and step into the present moment, where true peace awaits.